Good evening, fans of Formula One. My name is Afolabi. I'm here with Mustafa Jinodu. It's the Imola Formula One weekend, and today we are paying tribute to two absolute giants of the game, Senna and Roland Ratzenberger. Welcome, Mustafa, to the show.
Welcome, Afolabi. How is everything? Yeah, we're going to remember those two men because they were young. They would have been older than us now, but they were young and they passed away. Senna will always be remembered as a legend. Ratzenberger also was a very great driver, and a lot of changes have been made in Formula One since then. It was a lot faster back then with less regulations and things, and it's changed a lot. But my thing is that we want to honor those guys in Italy, and we want to continue to wish that drivers stay safe. So, Falabi Salas, what are your impressions about the qualifying today also? Yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
Not the qualifying, the practices. Yeah, free practices. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a little surprised that Charles Leclerc topped the timesheet in
free
practice one with
and
Ferrari, leading George Russell, who was second.
He came first in practice too, also. Yeah.
Yes, although I expected a strong performance, both of them being Leclerc being the home team. So I expected a very strong, and they made a couple of upgrades too to their car. So it's a good start for them, but free practice is never a good way to judge the qualifying and the final.
Two things. We have to wait for the data. So thank you guys. We came here early for our fans. We have to wait for the data on the long run. Okay, hold on. Kool-Aid, I'm talking, please. So yeah, Falabi, we have to wait to see what fuel levels were, tires that were being used, and the long race. But it still looks like Ferrari. It looks like Ferrari is making improvements as predicted. So what we're seeing now looks like they're doing well. But also, probably with Red Bull, they're not at full specs yet. But it appears that Verstappen is having some troubles with navigating the high-speed corners. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yes, I agree with you. When it comes to that Imola track, it appears Ferrari seems to get the hang of it a little bit better than Red Bull. I'm expecting a very strong performance for the Ferrari team of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
For Mercedes, I don't expect anything special, much of the same. A very poor season. I'm even surprised that Russell finished second on free practice. I don't know how Hamilton finished, but I'm not expecting too much. The McLaren team. The McLaren team is another team I'm rooting for, because of all the upgrades that happened in Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, my bedroom.
Kool-Aid messing up our flow. Kool-Aid, man, put Kool-Aid on mute. Put him on mute.
Okay, no problem. Yes, I've muted Kool-Aid.
Because the reason I said so is because he was blocking us out. So like I heard what you were saying about so it looks like Ferrari does have the advantage
because of the upgrades and McLaren as well.
Yeah, and McLaren. And I heard some people think that on F1 channel, they said they think the final race is going to be a challenge between Ferrari and McLaren. That may be the case. I think a lot of it is not just the upgrades. Is this track? This Imola track is a lot like the last track at what was the last race? Miami. It has like
nice. Sorry.
Okay, hold on. We're in the middle of something. So like
my speaker was my speaker, so that was the problem.
In Miami, we had I feel like in Miami we had high-speed corners and stuff, and we also saw that there were a lot of people having trouble navigating the corners, and Verstappen struggled with that again. So I think this is a track where Red Bull's absolute pace is not to its advantage as it was in Saudi Arabia and places like that. But nevertheless, it does look like Ferrari has more pace. What do you think, Afolabi? Then we'll get to Kunle. Yeah,
I agree with you, but let's not forget that last time out, Max Verstappen won here, so he still has some experience here, and he understands the track. But like you rightly mentioned, Ferrari has made upgrades. I expect I expect Charles Leclerc in particular to run Max very close, very, very close, and then maybe land on Norris.
Yeah, before we get to Kunle, my prediction is that in Europe, which is has more difficult races, more difficult tracks, Europe is the homeland of Formula One, basically, kind of like with football. You will see within the European campaign, you will see Ferrari and McLaren catch up again. But I think once we get to the longer circuit, the longer circuits in Asia and in South America again, I still think Red Bull will pull it off this year, but it's getting closer. And I think we're now seeing a look into the future in that Red Bull's advantage is being reduced. So we just have to see what they have under their sleeves. We're now going to find out whether Adrian Newey is the big difference. I don't think that's the big difference. I just think that Red Bull has spent so much money and has gone so far ahead that they have diminishing returns and other teams are catching up. What do you think, Kunle? Yeah.
Well, for this race, yeah, I think for Red Bull in the long term, a lot of changes are going to be made to Red Bull. It looks like Mercedes and Ferrari want to up the ante. All the best trainers and the best drivers seem to be
moving towards
going to Mercedes and Ferrari.
Mercedes or McLaren?
Yeah, McLaren is going to be still up there. I don't know what's Mercedes that are struggling. They're getting a lot of special people coming in there, and they're approaching Verstappen to come there. And Ferrari is picking a lot of people from Red Bull, and a lot of other top people from Mercedes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
are also going to Ferrari.
Yeah.
So Ferrari and Mercedes seem to be wanting to strengthen so they can have that traditional competitive role. And the British are always somewhere in their racing green of Aston Martin, but this time around they're McLaren and they're yellow. I think they're trying to pull away from Red Bull. Red Bull are going to be tested now to see, are they a real racing team, or were they just because of one or two personalities just there? Whether they're going to stay up there, whether they're going to keep their driver or get a new driver and still dominate or still compete in the next season. Next season is going to be very intriguing to see.
So here's what I believe. I believe that Red Bull is about to go through another transition in which Verstappen will start dropping in performance next year, like Vettel did, and then he'll leave, and then they'll bring in that new young guy. There's a young kid, blonde kid, who's 13 years old. So I think Red Bull is committed to racing, but what they do is they look long term. So they're already making the adjustments now, and I believe that this is what we were saying on Formula One Fanatic weeks ago. Remember, Falabi, we were saying that it looks that Verstappen may very likely go to Mercedes when his dad was threatening to leave when the rumors and the allegations first came out with Horner. Remember, Afolabi? Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
But now and this is just a theory. It's just a theory for now, but what Kule says makes sense. Continue. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that it's cut and dry now that Hamilton is going to Ferrari, I guess. So I don't think Max will be going there. So the likeliest destination for Max is either Mercedes or McLaren.
Yeah, but I think it's McLaren, it's Mercedes, because as Grandpa Peter Windsor said, it doesn't make sense to have two very, very good drivers on the same team because they'll cancel each other out and somebody else will beat them in the race for the tournament. So I think that Mercedes is likely where he will go. But Russell will give him enough of a push, but Russell will not be a super challenge. What do you think, Kunle? Yeah. Thank you, Falabi.
Yeah, I think Russell isn't really impressing me. He's not really impressed me that much. I think he's clearly not as strong a driver as Hamilton. He does struggle to finish and he does struggle with the car more than Hamilton. He's a decent driver, but he makes too many mistakes. I think he thinks he's a bit better than what he really is.
Yeah, I think so. He can't get away. I saw him taking fancy pictures. He took fancy pictures with a 1913 car. Nobody cares. You're not who's the old guy from Italy that was supposed to be so great back in the 1920s? You're not him, even if you dress like him in his car. The one who they claim is the best driver.
What's that? I remember the guy.
Yeah, I'll get it now. This is a disgrace. We should know. We're Formula One fans. The old guy from back in the day. I'll figure it out. But continue, continue.
No, he's like the Pele of Formula One.
Yeah. This is terrible. We don't know it. I'm going to find it out now.
Viewers, please forgive us. It's a Friday and we're productive.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name now. But continue while I look for it.
He was Italian.
Yeah.
He drove with Ferrari.
Yeah.
Let me see. Italian. He drove with Ferrari.
I forgot, but we have to continue. Fangio.
Fangio.
How do we forget it? And we're fanatics. We're Formula One fanatics, and we forgot about Fangio. Kool-Aid is the wine. It's the wine and the ganja. So what I was saying is that Russell is not Fangio.
I don't know about you.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm joking. But Russell dressed up like Fangio. I like that doesn't make you Fangio. He was in an old car. It doesn't make you him. so continue, Kool-Aid. Yeah, continue your thought. But what the point you were making is that it seemed likely that Verstappen will move to with his dad will move to Mercedes. I'm predicting that's what will happen because they need new challenges, fresh things. And it's nothing personal towards Red Bull, but with Red Bull, all good things must come to an end, like it did with Vettel. Vettel won 5 years in a row, then he went to Ferrari.
They actually offered they offered him $150 million deal, or I don't know what it is, euros, but they offered him 150 million, whether it's euros, dollars, pounds, even Naira has money. But
Verstappen.
That's a lot of money for Verstappen to go to but I don't know when that's going to happen. Is that going to happen?
Okay, but here's my theory. Here's my theory, and then we'll go to Falabi. Mercedes still has to figure out their problems because their car, they made some big mistakes in the transition from the old era with the electric engines, to the new era. So they don't understand their car. So it doesn't make a sense for him to even go next year because I think they need 2 years to rehaul and prepare for the new era, which is what I think they're waiting. And I think that's when Verstappen was talking to Wolf. So I think what is going to happen, they've already started to scrap any chances of winning for the next 2 years because they just don't understand their car because they stopped spending money on it because they had such a big lead when they were winning with Hamilton. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think Verstappen will still be in his 20s or like almost just maybe 30 in 2 years' time. And I think that's the switch. What do you think, Afalabi? Then quickly back to Kunle because I want to see what Kunle thinks too. Yeah.
I agree with you because 2026 is the magic year where all the new specifications come into play. So it won't be wise for a driver of his experience to be changing cars at this stage because the whole essence of all those changes specifications is to make it more competitive and make things more even. So in my own opinion, I think he will still be in Red Bull for the next 2 years at least.
Yeah, and also he'll start from fresh, and because we know that he likes to do a lot of testing. So my theory is that he'll start in 2027 or 28 with Mercedes, and they're going to do a lot of testing and stuff, and they're going to take it seriously. And by having him, they're going to get more money, so they can spend more money on testing and developing their new concept. And the big question is where is our young man Newey goes? But in this day and age,
things are going to change with the electric.
Yeah, but in this day and age, I don't even think, to be honest, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but even Newey will not be as relevant as he used to be. Everything's going to be reloaded, and it's going to be about money. And we have a lot of Newey proteges who are in the budding that can do what he's doing. And I'm not trying to say that they can do exactly what he does because he's great, but he's 65. It's time for a new generation. What do you think, Kunle? Yeah.
Well, in Formula One, when mechanics like Braun move around, it affects the success of these teams quite suddenly from season to season.
Yeah.
And Red Bull haven't always dominated. I remember when they had Danny Ricciardo and they were not really dominating. And also you have to remember that you have to think of Formula One much like a circus, in the sense that it's a circus show.
It's a show. Well, the word very quickly. The word I would use is WWE. But go on. But they all
something like that. So they have
it's incestuous. It's incestuous.
And sometimes generating the interest might mean deliberately moving drivers and mechanics and engineers around to make the sport more competitive and more appealing. And that benefits the whole of Formula One. When you don't know who's going to win, or when it's close between 3 or 4 different drivers, it hypes up the excitement and the tension. When you see a close race for first place, I remember when I think Damon Hill and Schumacher, when they used to have close, Damon Hill won a few times, but I think Schumacher ultimately dominated.
And then you had Villeneuve too.
They used to fight a lot. Senna as well. Yes, it wasn't just great drive, like getting on the plane and going from A to B and landing.
So Kunle, I agree with you.
I mean, people used to have to fight in those days. So
I agree with you, and I'm going to say something complicated. Kunle, very quickly.
I think they'll mix it up.
Yeah. Sorry to cut in front of you. I agree with you. It's a circus, and I also think a lot of the stuff like the scandal with Susie Wolf and all those things was also part of the circus to keep people watching. You understand what I'm saying? That's part. I think that's what Formula One has become.
Yes. Yes, those things.
Yeah. To keep people watching because Red Bull was winning too much.
Drama cells.
Cells, yeah. So what do you think, Afolabi? Yeah.
I agree with you. It might have been a script for all you know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the script, Adrian Newey announces his
Afolabi.
Yeah.
Afolabi, Kool-Aid, you guys, you know what is also a circus? Politics. I bet you that Xi and Putin and Biden are friends. They say, hey, see everybody fighting because of us, so we are making money. Seriously, that's the world. Yeah, it's a script. What do you think, Kool-Aid?
Well, they're making money and they need to keep the interest up. And so I think good for them on doing so. I don't know if Red Bull are going to be up there for much longer.
And I have one more thing to say.
Going to drop.
I have one more thing to say.
I hear rains a lot at the Imola section
that Ferrari and Mercedes have. Even
also, let me add another
Ferrari
point.
Thereabouts. Red Bull are suddenly dominating, but they could just disappear, just like Rome. They could just come and go. Because this domination
in fact, I think they're under a little bit of pressure because if Max doesn't win again, that'll be 3 in a row, which is very rare.
And can I say something? Max, this is going to be a test of Max because the people are now beginning to say Max made 4. He went off the high-speed corners 4 times today. He couldn't handle the corners. He did it last week. He did it 2 weeks ago in Miami. He hit the cones. So what people are saying is that Max has had such a great sweet spot that he hasn't had to push himself. But now that he's getting pushed again, he's beginning to make mistakes again. Kunle, what do you think? Yeah.
Well, yes, he's beginning to make mistakes. There's something I want to talk about that's slightly different apart from Max. Is that Red Bull's pit stops seem to be 1.98, 2.1s, whereas the other cars tend to be 2.5. Which tells me that Red Bull is not just about the car and the technicians, their crew, their pit crew seems to be quite.
Because their times were unbelievable. They had a 1 point something one.
So fast, that's a big deal.
That's a lot.
Yes. And so I think that Verstappen, if it doesn't rain and it's a clean day, no matter what goes wrong with Verstappen is a bit like the Man City of Formula One right now. This season is
he's consistent and predictable. Yeah,
it's boring, predictable. Verstappen's going to dominate, even if he makes a few mistakes. He's very fast. He's a very fast driver. Do not disrespect him just because he's winning. Because clearly,
but I do think here's what I think. So Kunle, I agree with you. So what I think is that he's now going to have to make an adjustment in which he's still probably the best driver in the world, but now he's going to have to work hard again to maintain his supremacy. So that just shows that the other 2 cars, McLaren and Ferrari, are getting closer. So now Max is going to have to get back down and focus more. Nothing wrong with that because he's been winning too easily. And when you win too easily, you fall asleep. So now you have to wake up. So I think these next 2 races will wake him up and he'll still win maybe, but he'll have to work harder for it. What do you think, Afolabi? Then get back to Kunle. Yeah.
I agree with you. The win by Lando in Miami was a kick in the ass. So I think that will really push him to prove something. And then if you look at the whole picture, it's Red Bull and people are beginning to say all sorts of things. They want to reassert their dominance so that at least the outside world will say it's because of Newey, it's because of the honor issue and stuff like that. But like Ole rightly mentioned, he's a brilliant driver. Boring, he doesn't have a social life, he just drives like a robot. So I expect him put in a very good performance, but I think the pair of Ferrari will run him very, very close.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. We have to wait for the telemetry.
He drives like a robot, but his voice is like a downfall bus conductor.
Yaba Vox. Yaba Mautu Ikoko, Ianaba Vox.
That's how he sounds. That's one kind of bus conductor's voice.
All right, guys. I might have to leave soon, but I want to quickly talk about I forgot what I wanted to talk about actually, but
the giants of the game.
We want to
Senna and
so we want to focus. This is a very difficult. Was that?
Senna and Ratzenberger.
Oh yeah. So let me quickly talk about Senna, and then I'll let you guys go back and forth. won 3 championships. Senna was very passionate. So I think between people like Senna and Nigel Mansell, that's his name, Nigel Mansell, and Schumacher, I think they were all on the same level. But what makes Senna more interesting is that he was the really passionate Formula One guy who relied a lot on intuition more than anything. Whereas Schumacher, who I think is just as good, relied more on work and details. But Senna was sort of like a prophet of our sport. He loved the sport. And Hamilton came close to being like him, but I don't think Hamilton had the same intensity. Because remember, Hamilton's the model. Kool-Aid, what do you think? Yeah.
I think I won't sell Hamilton down the rip that quickly. I think that he's actually quite a very good, consistent driver. I mean, come on, he's equal Schumacher. And
okay, but Kool-Aid, can I say one thing? Kool-Aid, real quickly. I'm saying I don't think he has the passion, though. I don't think he has the killer instinct. I think he's more balanced as a person, but I wonder sometimes, because Senna will drive the car to the point where he will kill himself. He did it many times, but continues. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think he has a killer instinct. I think that he's just frustrated with his car.
Yeah.
I think.
Are you asking for moi moi or Bekiri?
Asking for fish pepper soup.
All right, Kool-Aid and I can continue. I'm going to be getting ready for work, but I'll jump back in. Okay.
So like Mustafa said, he was recognized for his ability. It's so sad because he ended up dying on the circuit. He was recognized for his ability to really push his car to the very limit, and he was a very, very fearless driver. And when it comes to wet conditions, like where we are this weekend in Imola, it rains a lot there. He was one of the best when it comes to wet conditions. It's
a Hamilton now.
Yeah, just like Hamilton now. But I think by the time Max finishes his career, he would have dusted a lot of these guys, this big giants record, because the guy is on the trajectory.
Also, very quickly,
he could be
everybody admits
Formula One when he retires.
Afalabi, very quickly.
Yes.
Afalabi, sorry, I just want to add very quickly. Hamilton should have 8 championships because he was robbed his last year. Continue. You guys can continue.
And the guy is still bitter. He keeps saying it anytime they interview him.
Yeah.
So overall,
we have to remember that
overall, who has the highest? I think it's still Michael Schumacher.
Schumacher and Hamilton. I think they both have 7. Or no, Michael Schumacher has 7.
Okay.
Yeah. And Michael,
but by the
Vettel
time,
has 5.
I was telling Philip, by the time Max retires, he could have surpassed all these records. Really, what do you think, Wule?
I don't know if Verstappen has the stamina to keep going. We can't know with these things. Look at the partner.
He's really still very young.
Look at Hamilton's driving partner. He just won it once and he got tired. Some people might win it 2 or 3 times and then they get tired and life can take over. You have to be psychotically focused over the longevity of the challenge.
Kool-Aid, that's the perfect example. Kool-Aid, the perfect example is Sebastian Vettel. He won with Toro Rosso in the rain at 19 years old. Then he won 5 in a row. Then he just blew up off the map.
I thought Vettel was the next Schumacher.
I thought so. But speaking of which, I think Schumacher would have continued and kept, even when Schumacher was 42, he was driving with Mercedes and he was helping to develop Rosberg. So I think Schumacher is the most psychotic. I don't mean psychotic as a criminal, but the most self-possessed driver ever. Also Senna, but they were the opposites because Senna was passionate, Schumacher was clinical, but both of them were psychos. What would you think, Kool-Aid? Yeah.
Schumacher had retired when he had his accident, though.
I'm talking about, but before that, Schumacher crashed. Remember that time he crashed and broke his legs and he came back the same season?
I also seen Schumacher start from the back of the grid in Monaco. From the back of the grid.
Which is impossible to pass.
I actually watched that race from start to finish in disbelief. This guy, I like Schumacher. I really did. I like the British drivers. But Nigel Mansell was the dullest and most boring.
Before I go, we'll continue about Mansell, but let's also remember Schumacher, who is in a coma. Let's remember him also, who was there. Yeah. And you know what? I thought Schumacher was cold, but I remember when they reminded Schumacher when he broke Senna's record, Schumacher broke down in tears. When they reminded him that he broke Senna's record, he broke down in tears. And his brother came 3rd in that race. His brother had to hug him. So we also have to remember Schumacher. Yeah. Continue. Yeah.
Yes, that was a very sad time. Yeah, so I mean, my greatest drivers of all time I've watched are definitely Schumacher, Damon Hill. I enjoyed Damon Hill was my Lewis Hamilton of the 90s. I don't know why. I really liked Damon Hill in the 90s. Probably because he was British.
Kool-Aid, you know who my favorite driver is? Kool-Aid, you know who my favorite driver is? Jenson Button, because Jenson Button, no fear Hamilton. Jenson Button beat Hamilton fair when they were both teammates.
Remember Jenson Button? I like Rubens Barrichello. I thought he was going to be a legend, Rubens Barrichello.
Yeah. I think that guy is Brazilian too.
Yeah.
Just like Senna. I think he's Brazilian. Okay.
I thought
okay, guys, I'm going to close out. You guys can continue, and just send me it later. I'll follow me. Good day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll discuss for Arsenal match. Thank you. Okay. Goodbye, guys. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so Kule, what are your picks for podium this weekend? So we can round up with that.
I think my picks for podium are going to be relatively predictable. I think Verstappen is going to win, and I think Ferrari and McLaren are going to fight over second and third. I think Norris is going to come. Let me say Norris is going to come second, and Sainz third. Yes, that's my three. Okay. Verstappen, Norris, Sainz. That's the order for my podium.
Okay. With Leclerc's performance, anyway, free practice is never a basis to judge the final race. From early news that we had today, Charles Leclerc finished the fastest in free practice 1, followed by I think Russell. So if you look at Lando Norris's performance in Miami in the free practice, you would see that it was an indication that he was going to do as well as he did in the race. So it's too early to say much. But like you rightly mentioned, Verstappen, Norris, and then I think it's Leclerc.
Sainz. I think Leclerc is not showing how fast Ferrari is, but I think Sainz is going to be fast.
So Max, Norris, and Sainz.
Qualifiers and practices. I think Sainz is going to dominate. Leclerc is just showing that the Ferrari is fast. Same with Russell. He's just showing the Mercedes is fast. I think Hamilton is going to probably finish. Maybe I think Hamilton will do like 5th or 6th. I think he's going to do quite well.
Okay, what's your pick on the mid-range on the mid-range cars, the Saubers, the Aston Martins, and the Williams? What do you think their performance would be here at Imola? They always seem to form the mid-block of the.
I think after the Aston Martin is going to come that ass, and then the Williamses, and then the oddballs, with the Sargents and the Logan Sargents carrying up the rear. But I think Williams, Haas, and Aston Martin are between, like, I would say between 8 and 10, 12, 14. Between 8 and 14.
Where does that put Mercedes? Where does that put
Mercedes? Mercedes are going to be Mercedes going to be battling with the Aston Martin. I think the main rival for Mercedes 7 and 9. They have to get on top of Aston Martin, and that ass though, they're always mixing it up and causing problems. So,
and what do you think of this guy, Yuki Tsunoda, Japanese guy, RB?
Oh, Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah,
I like him. He's a good gutsy little driver, but he's not got a good enough drive to be, the top. Be the top anything of interest. But he completes his races. He's quite quick. He competes. I've seen him do a few overtakes. I've seen him make it difficult to be overtaken. I think he's better than Logan Sargent. I don't think Logan Sargent is quite good enough for Formula One. I think he needs to be changed. Not just because he's not fast enough, he crashes out too many
Logan
times.
Sargent is in the same team as Yuki Tsunoda.
The same team as
Yuki Tsunoda, they're in the same.
Yeah, but Tsunoda is so much better. Tsunoda, to my mind, is so much better than
a lot better. Okay.
Sargent. Yeah, he's a lot better. So I'd like to say I like Tsunoda. I like the Chinese driver Zhu. Even he's probably Logan Sargent's nemesis. Along with the Williams pulling up the rear, trying to finish races rather than win points. The odd point might come from there. But the minnow races can be actually quite interesting to watch. It's just a pity that they're so far off the leaders. I would like to see that gap close next season. So
talking about tires, I had, or from what I read, they said it would be soft tires from Pirelli this time around. How does it play out? Who determines the grade of tires? Or is just is it the organizers? Is it the Formula One itself? Or let's talk a little bit about the grade of tires as per Grand Prix. Who determines that? Or they change based on the different phases in the Grand Prix? How does it work really?
Well, I remember before it used to be Pirelli. You used to have Pirelli's. Was it Michelin? Was the competing tire with
Michelin.
Michelin and Pirelli?
Yes, Michelin and Pirelli.
And now it's just Pirelli.
Yeah.
I
guess it's because they're Italian anyway.
Yeah, Michelin is which country? Is it?
I think it's Asian. I'm not sure which of them. Maybe Japanese or country.
It's France.
But Pirelli is Italian.
No, Michelin are French. They're French.
Oh, they're French. Okay.
Yes. It's a French company. I don't know how they now lost that war. Now Pirelli now dominates everything.
So is the tire company that determines the grades that are going to be used?
It depends on the length of the race and the quality of the track. Will depend on how they're going to use their tires and their strategies. Because and also your hard tire is the slowest, but it lasts the longest. So you want to run your hard tire for as long as possible during the race, so that you don't have to. It also helps you have fewer pit stops, which will give you and then some cars which give you the advantage, and some cars are very good, like Mercedes has historically been good on the hard tires, although recently they've struggled on them and they're now best on their mediums. But still, Hamilton knows how to manage. He's still done well on the hard tire. So between the hard and the medium, I mean, it depends on what they use. And then also there's the tires used for qualifying and practice. You can't just get a brand new set of everything for the race. So you have to manage your tires. You have to look at the start of the race. People want to use softs and mediums because that's when everyone is close up. That's when you got your DRS coming in after the second lap. So your best chance of overtaking on the first few laps. So everybody wants a soft or medium tire. At the same time, you can have a hard tire and just try to hold your position so that when everybody goes in and goes on slower tires, you come on a faster tire if you've held your position and you can be faster in that way. So the tire strategies will matter a lot. I mean, but it's a skill, being able to master it. And then there's also a lot of luck in it. And then you have the rain factor, when you have to put on your intermediates and then you're wet.
I think it was, and this is one notorious circuit for its weather. I think it was the last 1 or 2 years ago. They said it was called up because of massive flooding in that town in Italy. So it's always raining.
Yes. So the rain tires are obviously extremely slow. But I mean, if you're not on rain tires when it's raining, you're on your intermediates or slicks, you're not, you're gonna crash out. So you have to know and focus on, there's a small team that focus on clouds and weather and rain that's moving around the racetrack, and things like that. The Nürburgring, I think, is the biggest of all the racetracks. I mean, that's centered around villages and towns. It's not like a ring that you can sit. It's a ring that goes around. So it's huge. I mean, it's 9 to 10 minutes on a regular racing car. I'm not sure about Formula One, but it'll still be several minutes. It's not like most of the tracks that are like 1.5 minutes or under 2 minutes. But have we had the Nürburgring recently? I haven't heard that name recently. We've not been racing the Nürburgring for a while, have we? I missed that racetrack. I used to race it on EA Sports.
Yes.
So Xbox. Yes,
Okay.
I know all the corners. If you're really good, you can get around it in, around 7 or 8 minutes. But yes, I missed that track. I don't know why it's no longer part of the Formula One. I think that
so many things involve sponsors, safety, safety conditions, and all whatnot. So basically, some of these tracks,
it didn't have Imola had more crashes than the Nürburgring.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Of course,
I don't know if it's the danger.
And they're still using that place.
And they're still using that place. So I don't know why they've left that. So I'm looking forward to the qualifiers tomorrow.
Yeah. Hopefully, depending on how tomorrow goes, we'll discuss the qualifiers, and then, of course, the final day of the EPL on Sunday. It's just that the added drama of deadline day. No, not deadline day, survival Sunday. I think we pretty much know the teams that are going down. So
yeah,
it's now first, second, third.
Man United that we don't need to go to any European football this season.
No, we don't need it.
I think that we just need to focus on getting the
on
team
the Premier
in,
League alone, playing on weekends alone, and not the extra exertions of Wednesday.
I think that we should keep the 3 kids.
Yeah,
Bruno the captain, Dalot. We have to keep Onana and Anthony because we can't let them go. It doesn't make any financial sense. So I think we keep
Ahmad is showing a lot of promise too.
And Ahmad, Ahmad. Yes, Ahmad. And then I think everyone else can and Martinez.
And Martinez, yes.
And Martinez.
And then the rest. But I would really sincerely want them to sign a young deputy for Martinez because of his injury issues. He's looking.
I think Braithwaite is a left.
Yes, of Everton. Everton.
Yes,
Braithwaite of Everton.
They're looking to sign him. They're looking to sign Tosin. We're looking to sign Todibo. I think one or two of them are actually left-footed centre backs.
Yeah,
a couple of them are left-footed centre backs.
So that will help cover as well. That will help cover his absence because he doesn't look like someone that can play in England for a very long season. Injury prime. We don't know the nature of the injuries. And then, of course, Malaysia, once he comes back from injury, they can just auction him. Tyrell Malacia.
Malacia, I think he can't play football again. I think he's had one of those injuries that, you have to end your career early.
Yes, I think so.
He's not going to be ready for next season either.
Yes, I had.
Yeah. I think also with Martinez, I think Martinez just had an unlucky injury. I don't think he's going to be having recurring injuries. Luke Shaw needs replacing. We need 2 left backs.
Of course, Luke Shaw.
We need 2 left backs.
2 left backs. Even last season, maybe 2 centre backs.
He was having constant injuries. Yes, he's an excellent player, but he's too injury prone.
We need a proper defensive midfielder.
We don't have one. Yeah, Casemiro's gone. Mino is an 8. Scott McTominay is not one. We need like 2. City have Rodri and Kovacic. We don't even. I like Amrabat. Amrabat can stick in. Amrabat is not a specialist defensive midfielder, but he can play that role. And then we have like one permanent CDM and an Amrabat who can double in, and Mino who can double in. With that's
instead of giving him the proper contract, you loan him again for a season as a cover for any one of the new guys they acquire in the summer. So, Kule, it's been wonderful talking to you.
Yes, I think we're down to 1 minute, so we're going to have to.
Yes. So tomorrow, hopefully, we'll see you again. Thanks for your time. You have a wonderful weekend. Yeah.
You too. Have a great time, brother.